I know, it's been a while since I've uploaded as opposed to streaming. I apologize, I've just been me, that's all. Borderlands 2 sits at the top of a game subgenre that has had, by this point, many entries. At least it sits atop that throne, in my opinion. Sure, these days it has some more stiff competition, with bigger titles like Destiny 2 and indie titles like Gunfire Reborn competing for their own seats at the table, but Borderlands comfortably sits at the head. But even after the original Borderlands release, the idea of the looter shooter hadn't really taken off in a significant way up until Borderlands 2. See, Borderlands had some rough edges, and needed some general polish, but it still sold. In fact, it sold well, and then there were the DLCs where the game really found solid footing when it comes to the characters that helped define the identity Borderlands spouts for itself. The game made enough money that it spawned a sequel, finally setting foot into solidifying itself as a gaming franchise. A loose term that had been up to that point and even still to some degree today, largely dominated by the ever-constant stream of decreasing sequel returns, which Borderlands itself is unfortunately not immune to. But that's for a different day. Borderlands 2 found its way to store shelves in September of 2012, and Gearbox has not stopped milking the cow. I mean, they re-released Dragon Keep as a standalone campaign. Still, 2012 wasn't the best time for Gearbox, with news about them and their releases being less than ideal. Duke Nukem Forever, with its 4 credited developers and 5 credited publishers, thanks to Wikipedia, bombed the year before, and they'd plop out a steaming pile of Colonial Marines before they finished up all of the DLC for Borderlands 2. But despite their other critical failures, and despite the existence of Randy, I sincerely do not think the movie stinks Pitchford, Borderlands 2 was beyond successful. As of late 2022, the total sales of the mainline Borderlands titles, those being Borderlands 2, pre-sequel, and 3, reached over 77 million copies. Borderlands 2 just happens to sit at the top of that money-making machine with 27 million copies to its name. But it's not just the money that's caused it to sit at the top of the looter-shooter titles. Probably gives the premise's answer away a bit. But hey, it's not the first time I've done that, so is Borderlands 2 worth it? Keeping up with the series tradition, or I guess turning it into a tradition, Borderlands 2 opens with a cinematic and a song, Shortchange Hero by The Heavy. It's a bit of a departure from the first title to this one, in that the cinematic does two things distinctly different. First, there's actually a showcase for what the base game character classes can do. Axton is the logical extension to Roland, with his own turrets. Salvador is a short stack in that he is short and stacks bodies with the ability to dual-wield guns. Mai is a siren who throws people into a metaphorical holding cell. Last of these original 4, and my personal favorite, is Zero, the number and assassin. He's the one we're running this playthrough. There are another 2 available via DLC, Gage and Krieg, the first a Macromancer and the second a Psycho. The second change in this cinematic is a bit more interesting.
It's cute that y'all think you're the heroes of this little adventure, but you're not. Welcome to Pandora, kiddos.
This is our first taste of this game's villain, and in just a few sentences he's already doing leagues better than Steel ever did. Handsome Jack. This guy was all over the marketing, and Gearbox was absolutely correct in doing so. He's an engaging and occasionally funny character to go up against. I mean in that way that all of the Borderlands series is occasionally funny. I know you know what I mean. The entire game he is constantly fucking with you, and he does so with clearly defined goals.
Great, another dead Vault Hunter. Handsome Jack's been busy. Wait a minute! You're not dead! Yes! Now I can get off this glacier. Claptrap, your metaphorical ship has finally come in. Allow me to introduce myself. I am a CL4P TP steward bot, but my friends call me Claptrap. Or they would if any of them were still alive, or had existed in the first place. Oh, I've got something for you.
There aren't much worse ways to wake up, and of course Claptrap being here doesn't make it better. At least we get to see his eye get ripped out by Knuckle Dragger. Small mercy. Knuckle Dragger himself isn't the most intimidating foe, but why would he be? Past him is a little hamlet populated entirely by one guy named Sir Hammerlock. We need to leave this place, but there's some metaphorical roadblocks stopping our progress, which I would love to leave alone just because he's got Claptrap and I don't. Unfortunately, progress demands I rescue that walking garbage can. Alright, also Midgemong in level 5, which unlocks the class action skill. In this case, Zero's action skill lets him go invisible for a limited time. Now, while invisible, it increases your attack by a percentage relative to however long you've been invisible for. It's important to remember that a single attack ends that invisibility, unless you nab the later skill augment that makes it so successful melee kills while invisible instead extend the timer. Yeah, the skill tree this time is much more interesting. Zero can also mark enemies using kunai that in turn can apply elemental effects. His decoy can explode. He can occasionally fire 2 bullets at once without wasting ammunition. It's a massive step forward considering its predecessor's skill trees were mostly just numbers. I mean, there is still some of that here, but there's just much more change to your potential action skill this time. The next step is unfortunately blocked off in a way that our guardian angel can't really deal with. She still helps the scooters catch a ride though. Our goal for the moment is a place called Sanctuary, home of the Crimson Raiders, rebels that want Handsome Jack off the planet or dead, preferably both. Getting there and inside is simple enough, just need to grab a power core for the shield that covers the place since Jack controls a massive gun in the sky. Once inside is the first big problem with the game. Borderlands 2 has an Ultra HD texture pack. This can cause the game to crash when the game does its fancy character introductions. It's not something that seems to happen to everyone though. It did this for me multiple times whenever I tried to greet Marcus. Whatever, from here forward the DLC is disabled, so if you're curious why the game looks slightly different from time to time, there you go. Next up is grabbing the Firehawk, enigmatic cult and bandit leader who apparently has Roland, who's become the head of the Crimson Raiders since we last saw him captive. Wonder who that Firehawk could be. It's Lilith, of course it's Lilith. And of course she didn't keep a good enough eye on Roland because now he's in a makeshift jail cell just for Hyperion to lock him up properly. I say lock him up, but Handsome Jack doesn't really seem like the I take prisoners type. Point is that he was kidnapped from under Lilith's protection by Bloodshots, who intend to use him as a bartering chip for funds from Hyperion. I don't know why they would try to bargain with a corporation whose leader has a strong kill all bandits media push going on 24/7, but that's the way things work here, I guess. Getting Roland requires infiltrating the dam the Bloodshots had turned into a stronghold, which itself requires a bit of a digression. Isn't much of one, but it's a digression regardless. Then comes the dam itself. There have been, and will probably continue to be, plenty of locations that I have completely forgotten about, or I can only remember in the brief glimpses that memories sometimes take place in. The dam is not one of those. It's partially because of the later side mission that's a TMNT reference that takes place here. It's partially because the first time I played this years ago, I was entirely unprepared. It's partially because of the change-up of enemy types partway through the mission. It's mostly because of the drain. On the surface, the level design of specific areas in Borderlands is a bit lackluster. Hallways connecting rooms, connecting hallways, connecting rooms, and the only real difference most times is what color the walls are painted and who's trying to murder you. Every so often, but not so often as to make the level design as a whole better than it currently is, there are things that can make it more interesting. The drain in this room is one of those things, through a combination of the drain itself and the fact that you're fighting around it as you ascend. It's an obvious and potentially dangerous focal point that everything quite literally revolves around. Now, I still wouldn't call the level design stellar. It's not. I mean, it's one of only 4 standout locations in my mind through the entire game, one of which is a referential secret because Borderlands loves references. I should also specify standout isn't necessarily a good thing in this case. Hell, the final part of this mission, the lead up to the Warden boss, let's put that in air quotes, takes place on top of the dam, and the only interesting thing about that is the Marcus Shrine. But hey, Roland's rescued now, so we should finally be able to actually make some forward progress, which starts with nabbing a vault key from a Hyperion train and me putting up the spoiler warning. Head here if you don't want spoilers. Getting the vault key is a multi-step process, because yes, it would be. Step 1, wake up Roland Spy by lighting bugs on fire. Step 2, get the help of the most gifted demolitions expert on Pandora, a little girl named Tiny Tina. Step 3, Tiny Tina can't help you without her bomb, so should probably do something about that. Step 4, boom goes the train. Step 5, get the key. That last one is going to be fun. Now, I put the air quotes around the Warden boss earlier, which I'm sure you heard. Here's a reason why. Wilhelm, the first actual boss this game has on offer. He craps out shield surveyors, among others, in his efforts to off you, but if you've got the guts and the guns, he isn't too much of a threat.
Here, grenade. And I disappear. A ghost amidst the combat, preparing to strike.
Killed Wilhelm. Holy hell, Jack doesn't stand a chance.
Wilhelm dropped a power core. Be sure to grab it. My sensors tell me it's one of a kind. If you bring it to Roland, Sanctuary's shields may never need to be recharged again.
We in the business call that foreshadowing. Wouldn't call it good foreshadowing, though. Yeah, it turns out the Guardian Angel is with Hyperion, which would be a cool betrayal reveal if the last game didn't end with that. And down goes Sanctuary's shields, and down comes Jack's wrath from the heavens. It seems Roland and Scooter may have planned ahead for this exact situation, since after we give them a hand in gathering up what they need, this happens.
I've never used this much. You might want to hang on to something.
Sorry, kid. That was an accident. I'll see you on the other side, though, I promise. Hit it, Scooter!
Haha. Man, this is one of them moments. Catch a ride!
That's the best you got. A flying city? What did you jumps possibly have that makes you think you've got a chance against me? A siren. Sup? Huh.
I know you're angry at me right now, but we don't have a lot of time. I'll explain everything. Just get to the fridge. It's the only way to reach the Highlands. I detect Lilith might have phased your city there.
As cool as that could be, I'm kind of annoyed about being teleported off Sanctuary instead of being put on it when it finally takes flight, though I understand that happened for only partially justifiable plot reasons. But also, there's still no shield? Like, once Jack finds it on a map again, he can just go back to firing, and the only reason Sanctuary teleported in the first place was because of the iridium Lilith took. And that supply's gonna run out at some point, so that's not a trick she can keep pulling forever. I know that Lilith bluffs when she tells Jack she'll just do it again if he wants to start firing on Sanctuary, but there's still a lack of supplies, or more accurately, the inevitable loss of them as time goes on, and the supplies end up being used by a city that doesn't look like it has the means for sustaining itself. Hell, the next step for the main mission is getting back to Sanctuary, which requires setting it up as a whole new waypoint, hence why you needed to be the only one that Lilith accidentally teleported out of Sanctuary. The building that holds the core for the shield isn't even with them, so it's not like they can use a shield now either. It's one of those plot details that sounds much more interesting on paper, but the more I think about the minutia of it, the less it seems viable as a defensive option for the Raiders. Maybe I'm overthinking it though. At least after the momentary pause of progress in the shape of a flying city is some more defined steps towards the end game. The next big ticket mission is getting to Angel, which is a bit more tricky than just those words would suggest.
Right. Sorry. We'd all be dead if it weren't for you. But we need a plan. Jack's getting closer and closer to digging up the warrior, and we still don't know where he's got the vault key stashed.
I can help you with that.
You? Damn it, we told you never to contact us again.
Will you please just hear me out?
Sure, let's listen to the crazy computer that just tried to kill us. Hey, remember that time she told us the vault was full of loot?
It's with me. I'm charging the vault key.
Continue.
The key naturally charges itself once every 200 years. Jack is patient, but he's not that patient. He's been using my power to forcibly charge the key with iridium. If you find me, you find the vault key. The vault key is housed in my AI control core atop 1,000 Cuts. It's protected by 3 impassable security hurdles. The first is a competitor deterrence field that will obliterate any non-Hyperion entity passing through it.
Competitor deterrence field? What, like a death wall?
It is a field of pure thermosonic energy programmed to atomize any unauthorized personnel.
So yeah, a death wall.
Beyond that lies the second hurdle, a defense bunker outfitted with the most high-tech weaponry Hyperion can afford.
That doesn't sound good.
Past the bunker, you'll have to get through the final hurdle, a door that will only open for Handsome Jack.
Well, that sounds even worse.
This will be your only opportunity to steal the vault key and stop Jack from controlling the warrior. I'm out of time. Do what you will, but promise me this. No matter what happens, do not allow Lilith into my chambers.
What the hell's that supposed to mean?
If she was luring us into a trap, she would have made it sound a little bit possible.
If we're taking that bitch down, I'm coming. Trap or not.
If anyone's gonna shut her down, it has to be you, soldier. Head to the Hyperion Preserve. I think I know how to get past the first hurdle.
So, 3 walls stopping progress, 3 hammers to smash them down. First on the chopping block is the Wildlife Exploitation Preserve. There's a small hiccup once we're there.
Hey, I heard about Sanctuary. You alright? Sorry I missed the action. I saw some Hyperion movement out in Tundra Express, so Bloodwing and I checked it out. Didn't realize we were walking into a trap. Bloodwing gave me time to get away, but bastards grabbed her. Brought her here. Rolling echoed ahead. All my data's on a chip in my bird Bloodwing's collar, including your claptrap upgrade. Some Hyperion jackasses nabbed her, took her into the preserve over there. Glad you're here. I've been scouting the place for the last half hour, and it looks like at least a 2-man job. If you can get inside through the shipyard, I can give you support and lead you to Bloodwing. You get my bird, you get your claptrap upgrade.
This itself has complications once we finally reach her. I've mentioned before that Steele of the first Borderlands was a nothing villain. Jack is different. He's arrogant, smug, but actually poses a threat beyond just his words. He interacts with the story and the characters, including, well...
Want Bloodwing back, huh? Shame. I've been doing some really interesting iridium experiments with her. Hate to see her go. But heck with it. This is all yours.
Badass approach.
Just give it up, kiddo. Bloodwing's got all the elements at her disposal. Fire, electricity, corrosion, slag, and... God damn, I forgot the last one. What the hell was that again? God damn it! Just weaken her and I'll hit her with a drink!
I'm sorry, soldier, but you gotta beat Bloodwing down. Do what you can to save her, but if you can't, she's got what we need to get into Control Core Angel and grab the vault key. That's what matters here.
I got it! Rolling the train dart! Tranquila, blood! This won't hurt, I promise! Okay, she's still alive. Get the microchip from her collar, and we can get her back to Sanctuary. Oh, now I remember. Explosive! No! That is why you don't screw with me. You and your little friend Mordecai turn yourselves in, or that dumbass bird is just the beginning. God damn it, Jack! I'm gonna kill you! You hear me?
Lackluster gameplay skills of yours truly aside, seeing Bloodwing die at the hands of a mostly competent villain is refreshing in a strange kind of way. Steele could never. After Bloodwing is an annoying area, Slab Town, the only thing that really makes it annoying are the buzzards. We've got to deliver a note to the Slab King, who has been replaced by Bricks since the original lost his position in the last game. It's another reveal that just isn't that surprising. It's not really difficult, and even Jack's mortar assault afterwards isn't that difficult to deal with either, which leaves us with the final hurdle. How to get past a system that only lets in one specific person? Easy, just pretend to be him. Jack has a body double. Well, had a body double. All these tasks are simple on paper, but it's more than just paperwork. I'm a little bit underleveled for the bunker assault, but that's fine. I'm too stubborn to not go through with it. I'm gonna get one before I reach the really interesting part. You might think that the bunker is simply a heavily fortified position with turrets. I mean, it is in the name, right? But in reality, it's a bit more than that.
You really think I'd protect Angel with nothing but a couple of bots and some flimsy turrets? You see, you're not at the bunker right now. The bunker isn't a place. That's the bunker. With the BNK-3R, the greatest defense bot ever built. Designed her myself. Now do me a favor and die.
The bunker is a boss that I like. It's not a surprise. per se. I mean, this is Jack, so players were bound to believe that these turrets weren't all he had going on, so it's at least a partial reward for players' expectations. The boss itself also fits Jack's motif as well. Hyperion's whole thing when it comes to their combat forces is the fact that the bulk of it is made up of robots, but there are still some that are truly unique, the bunker among them, even showing off a hint of Jack's arrogance. Jack couldn't and wouldn't trust anyone or anything else to protect what's precious to him, so the bunker is something he designs himself. After all, if it is his design, who could beat it? It's his. The fight is also fairly hectic, between the slab buzzards trying and failing to give back up, the occasional mines that pepper the field, and the varying bots that back up the bunker. Remember when the game gave a constructor bot the name Warden and pretended that was a boss? Because I do. After the bunker is some more combat. Angel is hooked up to these pipes which need destroyed, because that's how some fights go. Shoot a thing for another thing to happen. She has resigned herself to her fate in the hopes that it will stop Jack, who intends to use the vault key, and the warrior it guards. Oh, and by the way, Angel is Jack's daughter, apparently. There isn't much fanfare to that reveal, so I'm not going to give it much myself. There's a bit more on that in some optional dialogue and tales, but I haven't played that one yet, so I guess I'll wait to see what those other details are. Angel's dealt with, and we finally got the vault key.
She's dead. Jack just lost his only way to awaken the warrior. We got the vault key, but this isn't over yet. We gotta find Jack and take him out. Lilith, take the vault key to Tannis. I'm going after Jack.
So,
You bastard! I'm gonna...
language. What's that saying? Don't pick a fight with a man with nothing left to lose. See, I'm gonna show you just how much you have to lose, and I got the most powerful siren on the planet to do it with. Lilith, kill the Vault Hunter. We've got a date to keep with the warrior. Do it, Lilith.
What happened? What the hell just happened? First Bloodwing, now this? Vault Hunter, find me a sanctuary. We gotta get Lilith back.
I've never been a fan of cutscenes taking away player agency, but I do like Jack continuing to be a threat even now. Plus, we get to rob Marcus in revenge for all those crashes that happened hours ago. The last leg of this journey is another simple on-paper affair. Get to Jack. So, to do that, share the unfortunate news of Roland's passing, steal some crates from Sawtooth Cauldron, jump off a tower because it's a quick way off and fall damage doesn't exist, reach Arid Nexus, use the pipeline, find the old stomping grounds, get repeatedly killed by Saturn, find a data access terminal so I can learn Handsome Jack's location, talk to everyone one last time before leaving to confront Jack, be annoyed at Claptrap since his attempts to help have actually failed on account of the fact that the turrets he got to help us are already destroyed, forget to laugh.
Reinforcements depleted.
Don't worry, baby. Happens to a lot of girls.
Find Jack and end this.
This is where it all ends. Once Lilith here charges the key, I'll control the warrior and wipe you bandits off my planet. When you get to hell, tell your Vault Hunter friends I said hey.
Hey, you're right on time. Key's nearly ready. But before I cleanse this planet for good, I'm gonna avenge my daughter.
The Handsome Jack portion of this fight is a joke, taking less than a minute. The warrior takes longer to deal with because it's a surprisingly mobile enemy with specific weak points. Not too difficult, all considered. My first playthrough of this years ago saw me melting the boss with an unkempt herald, and damn do I miss it, but even without it, the warrior isn't too difficult. It's all positioning and surrounding awareness. There's crystalisks and Rack that pop up every so often who want you dead as much as the warrior and Jack. I'm a bit overleveled for this fight, let's be honest, but even if I weren't, I don't think this fight would be hard. Worse though is it's kind of boring. Not as boring as the great immobile tentacle monster from the first game, but the most interesting thing about this fight is when the warrior goes into the lava because it slightly changes the arena. It's a shame that this thing that got so built up was such a letdown. For some reason, finishing up this final part and clicking on the vault key caused me to jump another 13 levels though. I don't think that was supposed to happen, and I don't know if I could repeat it. The game ends with the choice of how to kill Jack, and the reveal that Pandora isn't the only planet with vaults, in some of the most obvious sequel bait I think I have ever seen. End credits begin to roll, set to the heavies How You Like Me Now. There are these little storyboard-esque visuals on the side too, which is a nice touch. Borderlands 2 is my favorite in the series, at least the mainline titles. I've heard mixed things when it comes to the two Tales games, but I've not played either yet, so I can't vouch for either one's quality until then. Borderlands 2 has a good soundtrack, largely uninteresting if serviceable level design, made worse sometimes because backtracking for side missions is common and you often don't get side missions for a location until after you finished whatever it was that caused you to visit it initially. The combat's a serious step up in comparison to the first title, especially since the skills you can grab are more mechanically than statistically oriented. The story's pretty good, and Handsome Jack is the standout character throughout the entire game. Borderlands 2 is more than worth it. If you're a fan of looter shooters, or have, like me, been unfortunately afflicted with the Diablo loot goblin living in your brain, it's a staple title to own. Again, I apologize for my long absence when it comes to videos as opposed to streaming. Through a mixture of my own procrastination and being distracted by non-video game things as well as video game things in the forms of streams lately, I slipped up when it comes to working on and then uploading videos like this one. I'm going to try and be more on top of that, though I can't guarantee anything consistent between my now somewhat regular streaming and my job. But there will be more, that much I can promise you. I'm also thinking about making more than just Is It Worth It videos, but that won't be anything immediate even if I do commit to making it. And next up is something more recent. I'll see you later. Story out.